Hey everybody, welcome in. It is week 13. So, the week 13 preview, you know what it is. It's time for playoffs, almost. So, I will say, if anyone's curious, I'll also attach a image of Yahoo's projections at the beginning of the year. I actually looked at them before, I do the, the transaction grading or whatever. I just want to say, like, the current projection, or I guess the Yahoo's draft day projections had some interesting takes, and I would say overall it's about 50 to 60% accurate. I think it's been semi-accurate to more than your chance to win a bet. I guess you could say I could say if you're going to project something like that, being a little bit over 50% is not too bad. So again, it's taken into the fact of who you drafted, and obviously things have changed. A lot of players have shuffled around. There's some teams that haven't really made that many changes, and some teams that have made a lot of changes. Cough, cough, Eli and Gabe. But, which is ironic enough, because I feel like Eli's changed his team so many times, and he was projected to be 11th at like 2-11, and it might actually be true. So their regular season rankings, we'll see after how everything falls after the week 13 actually go through. But I'll post that image. Just wanted to say, if anyone's curious, because I know this was a topic of conversation we had before the draft, during draft party weekend, and then after the draft. But anyway, let's move on. So not that many transactions went through, probably because there's not a lot of available waiver wires or worthwhile waiver wires to spend money on. Just a heads up for everyone, disclaimer. Eli's got $0, and so does CJ. So if anyone wants a player for sure, bid just $1, prevent them from getting it. Just courtesy move. I'm sure CJ would love for him to not get a player because he doesn't have $1 to spend. So this is just too funny. Anyway, let's hop into it. So first up, Travis Big Spender Myers acquired. Let's see here, Adam Humphries for $9 and Seattle for $4. It looks like Brittany and Gabe both participated, not in each of these transactions, but Brittany participated in the Seattle for $1, Gabe $2. I'll give Travis a B for these moves. I like his aggressiveness. Again, he has a little bit of a budget. One thing, and specifically I'll notice, is that anyone that notices, well, I guess something, I don't know if everyone's noticed this, but around week 8, 9, and 10, people start to slow down on the transactions. I think people become a little bit more complacent with where they are. Like, for instance, Travis was like 6-1. Scott was like 5. Like the losing streaks that I had posted earlier. People become a little bit complacent around the mid-season, think that they pretty much locked in, and shit can go many different ways. So just, this is why I know for me is that even if I'm getting like, oh, I'm fine. No, always be aggressive. You're on offense, you're on defense constantly on the waiver wire, which explains one of my moves. But finishing off Travis's, he acquires Seattle's defense, and Adam Humphries, and I believe Tyrell Williams. So, I'll give Travis a B for this. Nothing crazy. I like it. Like I was saying, I like his aggressiveness. I just repeated that. Regardless. Nyheim Hines was acquired by Gabe, not Scott. Scott's fucking tots. Nyheim Hines for $7. He's got Marlon Mack. I like this. I'll give Gabe an A for this move. $7 for basically covering up the Marlon Mack situation for him because he is out this week, or it looks to be like he's out this week. Anyway, it's a good handcuff to have. And I believe Gabe also acquired Josh Doxson. I'm not going to give anything crazy for that. But again, overall, both these moves, I'll give him an A. Next up, we have me acquiring Justin Jackson, which is what I was saying before, is that this move was less about me potentially starting Justin Jackson, but me playing defense, preventing Travis from getting him because Austin Eckler has already been acquired, and the next handcuff to Melvin Gordon is Justin Jackson, who is actually a 3-down back. Very talented, came out of Northwestern. I was actually surprised the Chargers drafted him. I was looking to draft him in some dynasty leagues this year, but obviously since the Chargers drafted him, he's not going to start over Melvin Gordon unless something happens. So I like this, and it's just more of a defensive move. $7, I'll give myself a B. Nothing crazy. Also acquired Indianapolis defense for $0. Nothing crazy, but again, just solid stream defense. it's going to get interesting down the stretch here. Next up, we have Scott acquiring Gerald Everett for $5, dropping Jack Doyle. I'll give Scott a B on this. Gerald Everett isn't, I mean, I don't know how many targets he's going to get, but if you're going to throw your hat in the ring with the tight end, you might as well do it with the Rams tight end. They just get touchdowns. Not all the time, and there's another one there too, Higbee or something like that, but it's worth a shot. Next up, we have Eli acquiring Carlos Hyde for $3. And I believe that's it. So Eli is out of dollars. Like I was saying, out of buckaroos. Eli, $3 for Carlos Hyde. I like this move. I'll give Eli a B+ for this. It looks like Leonard Fournette's not going to play this week due to his suspension. So Carlos Hyde is the next logical play here for 1 week, and anything to help prevent the sack. I also noticed he acquired Keith Kirkwood last week. Interesting. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we have Brittany acquiring Green Bay's defense. I'll give her a C. And then we have CJ acquiring Frank Gore for $0 because he has no money to spend. I'll give CJ a C+ for this. I like the depth play. I know he's probably not going to start Frank Gore over his 2 studs at running back, but it's worth a solid flex play. He does get most of the touches in Miami, and we'll just see. But I mean, he's probably the best running back you can acquire, and why not just continue to bolster your roster heading into the playoffs, where transactions are going, or waiver wire ads are going to be few and far between. Next, let's do these matchup previews. So, what I'm going to try to do here is give everyone a range of where you can finish, what's the best case scenario and worst case scenario in terms of where you're finishing in the seeds. A lot of teams right now, basically anyone from 5 to 9. So Brady to Weston, it can do a complete 360. So Weston could be a 5 seed, and Brady could end up being a 9 seed. Probably not likely, but like I'm saying, in terms of points for. So so let's hop into it. First up, we have, and again, it's rivalry week. So these are your perceived rivals in our league. Please let me know if you'd like to change these, but I think for the most part, I don't want to say I've nailed them, but I think, these have been the rivals for the past couple of years, and, the last week of the season always has these matchups, just always. So, let's jump into it. So, first of all, we got Brittany versus CJ, and unfortunately, CJ has a 2-game lead, so Brittany cannot get the division from this matchup, which I thought was definitely a possibility heading into this week. Like 2 weeks ago, or for this matchup 2 weeks ago, I thought this was a possibility. But Brittany is a 20-point favorite over CJ. Again, Brittany can finish as high as a 5 seed. Her points for isn't as strong as Brady's, but as long as she outscores him by about 40 and she wins, she would have a chance to, leapfrog Brady. Anyway, so just, keep that in mind. CJ, best case scenario, he finishes as the 2 seed. Even if Tori loses, she is about 140 points ahead of CJ. So basically, we need Tori to put up a goose egg, like literally 0 points for him to catch her. However, I guess anything's possible. Just like Kevin Garnett said. But there's not much more I wanted to add there. But CJ, worst case scenario, is a 4 seed, so where he is right now, best case is a 2 seed. So he could have a bye, or he could be facing, either one of the 6-6 teams that are this week, week 1 of the fantasy playoffs. So next up, we have Eli playing Gabe. Currently, Gabe is a 13 or 14-point favorite over Eli. This could get wild. Obviously, Eli's been coming on strong as of late. And Gabe, doesn't have Marlon Mack, so it may not be a great week. But we'll, obviously we'll see. Gabe, best case could be a 5 seed. However, Gabe is, like 70 points behind Brady, so it's not looking good. He would basically need to put up in the 180s, 190s, which is definitely possible. And you would need Brady to be in about 110s or 120s. So it's not out of the question, but it's not likely. Probably like a 10% chance for Gabe here to actually leapfrog Brady. However, for the 6 seed, he's only 40 points behind Travis. So that's definitely a possibility to actually, or I guess, yeah, 40 points behind Travis. So it's definitely a possibility to actually beat out Travis this week. If Travis doesn't, Travis just puts up 130 and Gabe puts up about 170. You know, it's going to look, you know, Gabe's going to be in pretty good shape. So Gabe definitely has a shot. So best case, I'm going to say, because it's, you know, not like with Brady, but I mean, it's technically he's 5th seed. And worst case is a 9th seed if he loses and Weston wins. Weston would leapfrog him. Next up, we have Tori versus Katie. Katie's best case is the 11th seed, and worst case is the 12th seed. So, yeah, keep that in mind there, Katie. Anyway, Tori, worst case, she finishes 3rd, just because it would be pretty much impossible for CJ to outdo Tori in terms of the points for. And I mean, I'm only 13 points behind Tori, so as long as I outscore her by 13, Tori loses and I win, I could, you know, leapfrog her. But Tori's pretty much between 1 and 3. Next up, or I guess best case scenario, Tori's a 1 seed or the 3 seed, a bye or playing the 6 seed. Next up, we have Scott versus Brady. Scott's pretty much entrenched in the 10th seed. He's not really going to outscore anyone here. He's the closest person he can outscore is Gabe, and that's 100 points. So, yeah, it's not really likely. Gabe would have to do really poorly. And, yeah, I mean, I also forgot to mention Tori's like a 38-point favorite over Katie, so it would be a pretty huge upset. But, yeah, I didn't think it was that important to mention. Anyway, Brady's a 9-point favorite over Scott. Yeah, I think Scott's pretty much entrenched at the 10th seed. Probably not going to move anywhere. Unless he wins and Weston loses, he could be the 9th seed. So it's best case 9th seed, worst case 10th seed. Not much shuffling there. Brady, on the other hand, best case is the 5th seed. Worst case is the 9th seed. But it's not looking, I mean, I'm imagining if he were to lose and Gabe, well, yeah, no, 9th seed. Weston would leapfrog him. But, yeah, so Brady, best case, 5th seed, worst case, 9th seed. If he wins, it's looking fairly good that he'll make the playoffs. Like, 80 to 90% chance he'll make the playoffs if he wins. Weston plays Jay, and currently Weston is a 10-point favorite over Jay. Jay, best case scenario, is the 1 seed. If Tori loses and Jay wins, he's the 1 seed. Worst case scenario, he is the 4 seed. If he loses, both CJ and I win. He would, and CJ were to outscore him just in general by like maybe a point, CJ would leapfrog him. So, Jay can be anywhere from 1 to 4. Weston, on the other hand, can be anywhere from 9 to 5. So, Weston, if Brady loses, Brittany loses, Travis loses, and Gabe loses, which is all a possibility because all 4 play a team that's not 6-6 or in that situation, and Weston wins, he would leapfrog all of them because of his points 4 and end up as a 5th seed at 6-7, which would be wild. In worst case scenario, he loses and Scott wins and he's the 10th seed. So it's basically 5 to 10. I think that's the biggest range of outcomes for anyone in our league. So Weston is probably on full tilt almost. Next up, and last but not least, we have Travis versus myself. Travis is actually a 0.3 favorite over me right now. Again, Travis's best case scenario is the 5 seed if he wins and Brady loses, or he outscores Brady, or he could be all the way at the 9 seed if he loses and Weston wins. So Travis 5 to 9 is his range of possibilities. Me, best case scenario, I am 1 seed if Tori loses, Jay loses, and I win, and I outscore Tori by 13 points this week. I'm the 1 seed. If I lose and CJ wins, I am the 4 seed. So there's I guess 1 through 4, kind of like Jay here. So gonna be interesting. Anyway, the matchups of the week are Travis and myself. Should be a really good one. Has a lot. It's projected to be very, very good. In terms of competitiveness, we'll throw Weston and Jay in there because Jay and Weston have basically, between both of them, can cover from 1 to the 10th seed between these two teams combined. So that's going to be wild. And we'll also throw in, drum roll please, Brittany and CJ. So 3 total matchups a week. Really, all these matchups can be, but I think these will be especially very interesting to watch, just because Brittany can be anywhere from like I think 5th seed to 9th seed, and CJ can be anywhere from the 2 seed to the 4 seed. So pretty good range of possibilities. Gonna be awesome. Hope you guys have a great week. Good luck, and I'm so sorry this video went so long. It's a lot to cover, and I just wanted to make sure everyone kind of understood where they were. So anyway, that's it. Good luck. Make sure your lineups are set. Thursday Night Football is Saints and Cowboys, so start those players, people. Peace.